Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We are back with our book coach and friend, international best-selling author, Larissa Soehn. And yes, she's also the CEO of Next Page Publishing. Excited to have her back here, always to learn more about the work she's doing and helping you get published.
Yeah, thanks for having me back, Jill.
Thank you for being here. For those new time listeners, Larissa, tell us about you, your company, your books, everything you do.
Absolutely. Today's whole episode is actually going to be about me and my books and the origin story that so many of us have. So I'll talk a little bit about the company. So Next Page Publishing was founded on the mission statement to put the power back in authors' hands. And you're going to learn more about this in the story I share of how when I became an author for the first time, my power was basically stripped away. And I wasn't given the say in things that I should have given the scenario that I was in.
Yeah.
And so when I started my company just a little over a year ago now, the whole goal was to put authors in control, give them the respect they deserved because they have done something really hard, and give them ownership over their content that they can use any way they see fit and have full control over that content. The reports, the royalties, all of it needs to be in the author's hands. And so I started Next Page Publishing, and we are a company that serves nonfiction authors. You are going to hear me talk a little bit about my fiction book today, which is a step out of what we typically do. But we help those thought leaders, those coaches, those entrepreneurs who know they have a story to tell, or they want to have the authority that comes with being an author. We help them write that book. So we have writing coaching, one-on-one writing coaching that we bring people through, which is phenomenal for if you're concerned about accountability issues, if you're concerned about imposter syndrome, if you're concerned about the skill that it takes to write a book, you're going to be partnered with a one-on-one coach. And then we put your book through what I call the polishing. It's like the rock polisher at the end of it. You've picked up all the pretty rocks, and you know they could be beautiful, but your manuscript just isn't quite there yet. So we throw it into the rock tumbler, and we put it through 3 rounds of editing. So we get it as near perfect as we possibly can get, so that everybody is happy. I'm happy as your publisher. You're happy as the author and the brand owner. And then we push you all the way through to published. So every step of the way, you're partnered with someone their entire job is to see you succeed long after you leave with us. We're going to teach you how to market that book so that it feels natural, it feels comfortable. The book becomes a true funnel in your business systems. You're not left with this book that you don't know how to use. That happens so often, and it happened to me. And again, this is why I do what I do, is because authors deserve to know what their books are capable of and be given the tools to make it happen.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. By the way, how do we reach you?
You can head to, and I will do a woo because my website is finally fixed. It's been down all week. So it's just got fixed this morning. It's nextpagepublishing.net. You can go there. You can find access to our podcast, to our blog, to our free discovery call that you can book, to our masterclass that we host every month. That has been just phenomenal to connect with people. So if you're looking for a little bit more information, maybe outside of this radio show, definitely head to nextpagepublishing.net and sign up for our masterclass. We just went through the last one. We had an amazing session. We had, I think, 15 potential authors in there asking questions and having dialogue and really sussing out all the scary bits that come with being an author and getting them stepped forwards. That's 15 authors that are now stepped one closer to writing their book. So the next session is, I believe it's scheduled for October 12th. So you're going to want to go ahead and grab your tickets to that at nextpagepublishing.net.
Oh, awesome. 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 Thanks for telling us. All right, let's continue, Larissa. Go ahead.
So today is about my origin story, which is very fitting. I went into that long spiel about why I do what I do, but what is the root of it? Where did I start? So I am actually an ex-corporate employee, like many, many entrepreneurs. And I did the classic things. I graduated high school. I went to post-secondary. I found a job. I met my husband. I had a kid. It was storybook in the way it's supposed to go nowadays. And then 10 years later, I was burnt out. I was tired. I was constantly cranky. I was exercising way too much because it was my escape from reality. And to the point where it was incredibly unhealthy. My body was unhealthy. My mind was unhealthy. My family was unhealthy because I was always out running away from the problems that I just refused to face. And at the end of that tunnel that we all are so close to walking down, that burnout tunnel, was extreme depression, anxiety, the thoughts of self-harm. I ended up being in the hospital, in and out of the hospital for, I think it was close to 2 months. And if you are a parent, as I know you are, Jill, the idea of being away from our babies for that extended period of time for that reason is really heartbreaking. And it was incredibly hard on my daughter. We still talk about that time when we went to the hospital. She was 3 at the time. We still talk about it because I want her to know that it's okay to ask for help and it's okay to get help. But that doesn't make it any easier on us and our families. So when I got out of the hospital and I was off work, I was on disability, I needed something to escape reality, but running wasn't the option anymore. My body just was like, you are way too tired for this. You can't do this. You need something that involves sitting. And TV wasn't very good because, yes, it's mind numbing, but I didn't feel fulfilled. I wasn't getting any success. And so I was, rolling from bed to couch, not getting dressed, barely eating. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't keep doing this. So I bought a new computer and I thought, okay, I'm going to create a mystery game. And back in the day, my husband and I had a little tiny company. This is my first step into entrepreneurship that created escape rooms for kids, little games that we would mail to kids and they would get to play and they'd get to unlock a big box of candy. So I was like, okay, I need to distract myself. I need to do something different. So I'll write a new game. And in that process, I think I sat at my computer for about 6 hours that day. My daughter was at daycare. My husband was working from home because I needed a lot of help at that time. And he came up to my room to check on me and he asked what I was doing. And I was about 10,000 words in. And I turned to him and I said, I think I'm writing a book. And that is the story of how I accidentally wrote a 90,000 word novel. It flowed from me so organically. I'm what's very much known as a pantser, which means I don't plan anything in my books. I have no idea what's going to happen, what the plot lines are, who the characters are. I didn't know anything. I just wrote. And I credit Alexia, who is the main character of my book, The Defender, to bringing me back from the edge of darkness. I was on a podcast once and she pointed out my elegance. My daughter saved my life. Alexia brought me back. And she was the only constant that I had in my life that was doing what I was doing, but stepping forward. And as a fiction author or a baby fiction author, I knew that if I wanted to make a believable character, someone that was truly going through the grind and getting better, I had to do it myself. I had to start saying the mantras I was giving her. I had to start finding ways to be able to breathe without it hurting. I had to be able to go against those demons that were in my head. And of course, Alexia was, she was in a different galaxy. She was fighting against aliens. She was fulfilling prophecies. Like she was just being this badass person. I wasn't quite doing that, but there was so much of her in me that first book will forever hold a special place in my heart. And for anybody that's listening and feeling touched by this story, you can grab the ebook version only of this book. I actually just took this book down because I'm working on some updates to the physical copy that include the sneak peek to book 2. So it's called The Defender by Larissa Soehn. And you can grab the ebook on Amazon. You can just search The Defender or you can search my name and I will pull up you can grab the ebook. And it includes a sneak peek of book 2, which comes out on February 3rd. But there is always that part of me that is that first book feeling. Book 2 is special. Book 2 took me twice as long. It's bigger, but book 1 will always be that place in my heart, that book that saved my life.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that and being so open and honest with us. Wow. Wow. And now, were you always into writing? Did this help you could you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I think there's a study I read once that talked about true happiness in adults and where it stems from, and how, because as adults we lose touch of what makes us really happy. We get stuck in the responsibility cycle, and we forget what it's like to have a hobby that truly brings us joy. And the study I read was that if you enjoyed it between ages 7 and 14, that is likely going to be your hobby as an adult. That is likely going to be the thing that brings you the most joy, because it roots you back to what you genuinely enjoyed as a child, before you became a teenager, before social pressures became a
Yeah.
thing on you, and when you could truly delve into something. And so I look back on that 7 to 14 age range, and yes, I was very much writing stories. I was able to pull up little books that I had written. I have a one pager, the Dog in the Haunted House. That was probably my first published story. And so if I look back on that age, yes, I was absolutely writing stories, but I hadn't written creatively since probably about that age of 14.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Oh, I love your
Yeah.
story. Thank you for
Oh,
being
thank
so
you.
open and
And
honest with us.
it's so important to be open and honest as a brand leader, and that's why I
Yeah.
encourage so many people to write their books. And my memoir is going to talk about all of these things, and it's going to be a staple in my brand, because people want this type of genuine connection. They want to know the why behind your book. Readers don't buy books just for the sake of buying books anymore. They're buying the story behind the book, especially when they're buying from brand makers. They want to know that they can trust you, that they can relate to you, that they can find honesty between your pages. And you're not just going to pump them up with promises that they feel like they're never going to be able to achieve. They want to know you as a person. And that's the story your brand deserves to have if you want true growth that's attracting those dream clients into you that you feel like you've been best friends with for years. Those clients that are going to put in the work because they believe in you and they believe in the goals.
Mm,
That's why I share this story.
beautiful. Thank you so much. All right. Larissa, so what other stories do you want to share? Let's remind everyone how we can contact you.
Yeah, so you can find us at nextpagepublishing.net. And again, we have a blog there to help you if you're a reader, which, well, a lot of my writers are readers. You can read about the different steps of how to navigate Amazon, how to market your book, how to find a good editor, how to ask for beta readers, all of that stuff that comes with the ups and downs of becoming an author. Because oops,
Oh,
sorry. Do you want some background music? I can play some background music.
sure.
Becoming an author is actually kind of like background music turning on. Just when you think you're done with one part of the book and you're moving closer to the end, something pops up in the background and you're like, oh, I didn't think of that. Oh, how am I going to do that? And, finding editors might be one of those things. It sounds easy. Well, I'll just go on Fiverr. I'll go on Upwork and I'll find an editor. Well, what kind of editing are you looking for? What kind of relationship are you looking for with your editor? Do you want somebody that's just going to take your work and run it through Grammarly and spit you back out the results? Do you want somebody that you're going to have regular check-ins with, that you're going to have open and honest feedback from? What are you looking for? So every time an author by themselves, someone's working without a partner, moves through the chain, they come up against that background noise that pulls their attention. And it becomes this little annoying problem that that trips them up for longer than it should, and sometimes permanently, because it just becomes too hard. And so these authors have written their book and they get to this spot. And I'll talk from my own experience again, is when I wrote The Defender, I got to the point where I was done the manuscript and then I had to find an editor. Well, I was lucky enough that one of my friends was an editor. So she ran through it. She'd never done a full-size book like this before. So it was very much a learning curve for both of us. And then that didn't work out.
Yeah.
And then I had to go find another editor. And this time I picked a big name company to find my editor. That didn't work out. I had to get them to edit it twice because I think they did the Grammarly edit. And I was like, this is terrible. I paid a lot of money for this. And then I ended up partnering with what I now know is a vanity press. And this is the putting the power back in the author's hands. This is this part of the story. When I partnered with that vanity press, they were big name. And I'm not going to share the name because that's not how my company works. But I did partner with someone that was big name in the industry. And the first red flag for me should have been that they were willing to publish me without looking at my manuscript. They didn't care about my story. They didn't care if it had been edited, and they didn't care about what the results were going to be. They just wanted to publish my book, get it out there, and get me off their desk. And so it's been 2 years since I published The Defender the first time. I just pulled it off of the shelves to make some updates to it, to put in the sneak peek to book 2 and all that good stuff. But to do that, if I wanted the company that I had hired to help me, they were going to charge me another $250 just to get the rights to my book back. So here I was, this new author looking for a partner in the process, someone that was going to guide me and be my coach in the process. I talked to a person once in the entire time they had my book. They didn't tell me when they were going to launch my book. I didn't get a launch party. I didn't get that big, like, congratulations email. It was just suddenly out there.
Okay.
And it was totally heartbreaking because as this author, I wanted that moment of celebration. I wanted to be able to say with my friends, my family, and have this big ta-da. I didn't get that because there was zero communication between me and the publishing house. So when we founded this company, we have an author that's publishing on September 28th, and I'm so excited for him. And he is having the biggest launch party. And he was able to, we put his book up for pre-order probably 2 weeks ago now. That's, he had his heart set on the 28th. And so the book has been ready for about a month, and he's just waiting for that perfect day. He wants the full moon. He wants all the good vibes from it. And we've been waiting. But within 24 hours of going live, he was able to announce it to his community. He hit bestseller within 24 hours on pre-order. I have never had that happen in this company before. I have had all of our authors do hit bestseller, but usually it's when they launch. This was pre-launch. So it was absolutely epic to watch him succeed and to watch him over the past 2 weeks stay near the top. And so he got that initial celebration of the pre-launch, and now he gets this huge launch party where he's worked with me one-on-one. He's worked with a party coordinator to make this a big deal, because it is a big deal. Every author should be given the opportunity to celebrate their achievements. And when my opportunity was taken away by this company, my heart broke as a baby author. And it still makes me sad. I will never get that first book feeling back. I will be celebrating book 2. There will be a launch party on February 3rd. When that thing comes out, I'm going to be drinking mimosas in the morning and champagne in the afternoon. Like, it's going to be a party. But that's what every author deserves. So Next Page Publishing, we work really hard to make that happen for our authors. We celebrate every single step of the way. You are halfway through your chapters. Oh my gosh, my one author, she's just finished her halfway mark on her book. And what I like to do is send her a card that says, congratulations, like, you are halfway. And that keeps the momentum high for her. The chances of her wanting to come back to this book and keep going, the second half is always a slog because you're tired. The energy has worn off from chapter 1. But partnering with the right people keeps that momentum high. And finding the right partner that truly believes in you and your message. All of my clients, I am reading their work as they're writing. I'm just as invested in the process as they are. And I struggle when people partner with these vanity presses, because I don't think they know what they're missing out on. How good it could be to partner with someone who actually cares.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, you've been there, you've done that. Wow, thank you for sharing all this.
Yeah.
Wow, you are like Awesome. I wish you lived closer. One day we're going to work together, but oh, you really are. How old? Wait, your daughter's how old?
She's 5 now.
Okay. Okay. So
Just
wait,
about
so
just about turning 6. So our
oh,
last week has
pre-K
been
or
chaos.
wait,
Yeah,
I was going to wait.
kindergarten.
Oh, it's oh,
Kindergarten.
was
So
it?
we started. It
And
was
how was it?
um I cried. There's a picture of me standing outside my daughter's school as she goes in. And I didn't cry in front of her. I kept it together. I was super cool. But I am basically smushed up against the glass of this door to watch her go in and go into her classroom, because there's this difference between daycare, where I got to go into the class. I dropped her off. I hung her backpack up. Like, I was very, very involved. I saw all the educators. Now she lines up in a little line outside the main door, and her teacher comes and gets her. And once she crosses that threshold, she's not under my care anymore. And that is such a strange feeling. And I think I could relate it to becoming an author as well. And in so many ways, becoming an author is like being a parent, because once you publish it, the book is no longer yours. It doesn't belong to you anymore. Now it belongs to the readers. And so as I watch my daughter walk into this massive building that I've only been inside twice, it's kind of like hitting that publish button on your book. You have done the best you can by that little girl, by that kid that you're now sending into a big world.
Oh my gosh.
And you're watching it thrive. And it's just like this is so funny. It is just like a kid, because as she goes out into the world, like your book, she has a personality, she has a tone, she has a flavor, and she is going to be a hit with some people. She is going to be like, those fast best friends where it's instantaneous, eyes lock across the room, and it's like, yeah, we're going to be friends. Your book is going to do the same thing with people. It's going to find the people that really need it, that are going to click with it. They're going to see the cover and they're going to see the tagline and the title, and they're going to go, yep, I need that book. And then it's going to change their life. Yeah. But what's important to know is that it's not going to be that for some other people. My daughter is not everyone's cup of tea. She is highly in charge. She is very opinionated.
Demanding.
She knows she's a leader through and through. And in a kid, that can be hard to stomach sometimes. But when she grows up to be a woman, she's going to be a force to be reckoned with. And your book is going to be the same thing. Not everybody is going to enjoy that style. Not everybody is going to be able to work with that style. But for the people that it does work with, for those people that are looking for a guide, a partner, someone who has lived their experiences, your book is going to nail it. It's going to be that force to be reckoned with.
Oh, that is amazing. And is she enjoying it? How is she feeling?
Her favorite part is riding the bus. She's never ridden a bus before, as a school bus before. So her favorite part, I picked her up one day because I had to go grocery shopping, and she threw a massive fit in the parking lot and was so mad at me. And of course it's like week 2 and I'm trying to keep my gentle parent hat on and keep my cool, and the low tone threats, get in the car. It's like, I'm not doing this right
outburst.
now. Yeah, exactly. As parents, we know that low guttural sound of like, get in the car. Just get in the car. We'll talk about it in the car, because she's sprawled on the side of the grass, refusing to get up. So, but it's a lot of change for her.
Yeah,
it's a lot of change. And if I don't respect that in her, then who am I to ask for that respect in return? Right.
Yeah, 100%. Like my guys are 6 and 8. So we got first grade and I got third grade. So today my oldest son had allergy shots at like 8 in the morning. So he couldn't go on the bus. Well, after they realized after the doctor, we weren't going back to the house to go to the school bus, my little guy started a tantrum, and he's in first grade. But I want to ride the bus. And I'm like, you can ride on the way home today. I want to ride the bus. I'm like, we're not going to make it back in time. But it's so cute how these little things, affect them. These little bodies, these little brains, so full of information. Oh my goodness. But yeah,
it's the
best accomplishment though in the world, right? Right.
It is
Living life or being a published author. What
exactly. If you can do both, then your life is complete. You can claim both sides of the coin. But my opening line in most of my bios nowadays, I didn't use it in this one, but my proudest achievement is being a mother. Not because of And you can probably relate to this, not because I actually enjoy being a mother. I find being a mother very, very challenging.
Yes.
But I love the growth opportunities she gives me, the ability to have this reflection in myself so that I can emulate better for her, the power that I give her to call me out on my stuff when I'm not acting the way, a grown woman should act. And I had the other day, she called me a bully. And I was like, you know what? I am being bullied. Yes. And she has that confidence to call me out on it.
Wow. I love it.
And
I
I'm so
love
proud
it.
of that.
Oh, well, beautiful. Thank you for discussing everything today, being so
Yeah.
open, and thanks for being here.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so how do we reach out to you if anyone's
Yeah.
interested in your services? And
Yeah, absolutely. So anybody that's looking to write a nonfiction book to grow their business, tell their story, attract more clients, and get on bigger speaking stages can reach out to me at nextpagepublishing.net. We offer free 45-minute discovery calls. So if you've heard this episode and you're like, she's a cool chick, I want to chat with her, definitely take advantage of the discovery calls, and we can figure out how to make this book happen for you.
beautiful. Thank you again. Pleasure having you back, and have a fantastic day, and good luck with
Thanks, Jill.
pickup today at the bus
Yeah.
stop.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.